So this is a little bit of a longer post, but I think the topic is incredibly relevant. And this is a statement I want to make to you that is 100% true. And this statement is the following: that there are 1.4 or 1.5 million different real estate brokerages in the United States of America. And what that means is that while there are dozens and dozens of brokerages, there's 1.4 or 1.5 million different agents, which means there are 1.4 or 1.5 million different ways in which a real estate transaction is done. 1.4 or 1.5 million different ways in which services are delivered, commissions are represented, marketing plans, strategies, social media campaigns, advertising, everything is different. I mean, real estate is probably the only business where even in the franchised world, you have a franchise and there could be 200 agents inside that franchise. But yet inside that franchise, there are 200 completely different ways in which a real estate transaction is delivered to consumers. And what does that mean? It means ultimate confusion. Why is the real estate industry facing such chaos? And it's chaos. I mean, there's no way around it. Between lawsuits and private listings and Zillow in, Zillow out, all the things going on. It's because really we're entering a phase where consumers are communicating more than ever with each other. It's not just about industry and consumer, it's about consumer to consumer. And they're getting smarter, they're understanding things, they're starting to get more transparency. And the reality is that the dysfunction of the real estate industry, this completely disenfranchised way of doing business. I mean, the real estate industry is without question the most fragmented industry on the planet. Again, 1.4 or 1.5 million different ways of doing business. I mean, even if you went to a franchise, a brand name, well-known franchise, and walked in there as a buyer or seller, and there's 200 or 300 agents in there, you will get 200 or 300 different ways in which of doing business. I mean, imagine going into a McDonald's, never knowing what hamburger you were going to get. I mean, if you go to a McDonald's in Florida and a McDonald's in California, you know what to expect. But imagine going into the same McDonald's over and over and over again, and you get a completely different experience. Not only with respect to services or the burger, but the price and what the burger looks like and how the burger tastes and the thickness and the thinness. Well, it's the same thing in real estate. You never know what you're going to get. It is a completely risk-based decision when a consumer walks into a real estate office. So it's a very, very complicated and yet a scary process for consumers because they just don't know what they're going to get. And the real estate industry does nothing about this. I mean, brokerages, and I don't care what broker it is, the reality is most brokers have absolutely no idea what their agents are doing, how they're doing it. There's very little guardrails on what's happening. There's almost zero accountability at the part of leadership to know what their agents are doing. Again, why? This independent contractor business, it just sets the foundation for never knowing what you're going to get. And not only do you not know what you're going to get, even if you choose that person, you never know what you're going to get day by day by day because there's very little guardrails and very little accountability. So what is a consumer to do? How does a consumer choose what to do? Well, you got to really do much more homework on that individual agent, but you also should have guidance on who you choose. Before you choose an agent, it's not about choosing a brokerage, it's about choosing an agent. Before you choose an agent, you need to assemble a team that works for you. Attorney, title company, inspector, the players around it. And gather with them and collaborate with them on who you should choose and why you should choose them. And more importantly, how are you going to keep that agent accountable to you? And there are very specific ways. When you sign that listing agreement or you sign that buyer agency agreement, you are contracting with somebody for a period of time and money. And so many consumers go into these situations completely blind. But it doesn't need to be that way. Because at the end of the day, you, the consumer, you drive the boat. You own it all, whether you're the seller or the buyer. And with the 1.4 or 1.5 million different decisions you have to make, and the 1.4 or 1.5 million different ways in which business is done, at the end of the day, you need to make a decision that's going to work best for yourself. And remember, you've got 1.4 or 1.5 million different ways of doing business. In your market, there are thousands and thousands of different ways in which agents work with sellers and work with buyers. So how do you proceed forward? Collaborate with providers. Assemble your team. Get a mortgage loan officer, get an attorney, get a title company, get a home inspector on your team. Reach out to them. Say, before I hire my real estate agent, I want to hire you. And I want you to collaborate with me on how I should make my decision on a real estate agent and what are the things that I should look for. Give me the pros, give me the cons. Educate me. And when I hire that agent, I want them to be hiring me and my team, conforming to the way in which we want to do business. Got to flip the script. So it's an industry, and there's a reason it's in chaos. It's because consumers are speaking to consumers, trying to understand the process. There used to be a big, thick wall between consumers and the industry. And that wall is becoming thinner and thinner and thinner, and more transparent, more transparent, more transparent. And the industry doesn't love this. This is what you're seeing. But as the consumer, you have all the control and the power. And if you're unsure, don't know what to look for, how do I hire these collaborators? Feel free to DM me. I'd love to just share with you, not who to hire, but how to hire them. And how to make the best decision for you. Selling a home, buying a home, it's the largest financial decision that you'll probably make. Yet so much of it goes misunderstood. And that lack of understanding, it is partly the consumer's fault, but you never really had the option. Remember, for decades and generations, there was very little transparency in this business. There was no communication tool that allowed consumers to speak to consumers. But now those walls are thinning. And you have more control and have more options today than ever before. And buying and selling a home should be a great experience. But remember, we hear this word all the time, affordability. We hear it. It's a big number. But remember, in the conversation of affordability, there are commissions. And commissions historically have been somewhere between 3 and 5% of the purchase price, generally. All commissions are negotiable, of course. But when you think about these numbers as a percentage of down payment, or these commissions as a percentage of equity, it sometimes represents 10, 20, 30, sometimes 50% of the down payment or the equity. Down payment on the buyer side, equity on the seller side. 50%. And if you want to think about how I can make things more affordable, look to areas where there is room to negotiate. And it's inside of these things. And I'm not saying even necessarily you negotiate the price of those services, which could, but negotiate the services. Get more things for your dollar to put yourself in a position to justify the investments that you're making. So 1.4, 1.5 million different brokerages. But the only one that matters is the one you choose for your transaction.